we done?
Hello, everybody. This is Vince Gilligan, executive producer.
I don't know what it means.
Bryan Cranston, actor.
Stephen Bauer, actor.
Yeah, I'm Aaron Paul. I play Jesse.
Sure, that'll be fine.
And then in New York, we have some gentlemen joining us. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
This is Johan Renck, who directed this episode, I think.
This is Mike Slovis, who's director of photography.
Margolis, T.O.
You're quite welcome, Mr.
So here we are. We're watching some. Actually watching some footage here that was shot for a previous episode from the year before by Colin Buxey, another one of our wonderful directors. And I'm so glad to have you on this, Johan. This I think is this the first time you've done one of these commentaries for us?
It is, and I gotta say, I mean, that's one of the best things with going and shooting an episode like this is when half of the episode has already been done before, you know? It makes it really easy for me. I can just watch. No, it's the first time I've done it. It's a great pleasure. I'm really honored that you guys are having me.
And there's the wonderful Mr. Margolis. I think people are going to be very excited, Mark, to hear you actually talking on this commentary. I think they're going to be very surprised.
English, please. Well done.
Well done, I like it.
I'm going to speak in Mexican. That was an homage to Aaron.
We're not using subtitles on this, Mark, so let it rip.
To Agent Schrader moments before thus giving him the...
I remember visiting you guys on the set this day. This was the nursing home here, I think, is like a big multi-purpose room and a sort of a community center and sort of west of where we shoot our studio stuff. How did this day go for you guys, for Mark and Johan? How was this? Was this a good day? Was it a bad one?
They all blend together into one big mess, don't they? No, it was a good day. We made some executive decisions, Michael. Night, right? Mm-hmm. Which was good.
There's always a difference when you're shooting in a real location from the studios that we shoot in, and we're limited by the lights that we can put up, by the rigging and all that stuff. But I think we came through pretty well here. It's a pretty good location. The room is much bigger than it looks in these shots.
So Michael, you're pumping light in through the windows there? Is that what that is?
Not at all. That was actually, we tend to go with a lot of light that's available there. This shot, however, took us quite a while as it came up. Now Johan's looking at me, he's shaking his head.
No, what I'm doing is like I'm seeing us grown men by a poolside having fun with spilling blood in the water and trying to be artistic. You know? That's how I remember that.
Well, I remember that as I would set up a shot and Johan would look at me and go, no, that's not it. That's not it. No, that's not it. We tried about 5 different things.
Well, that's how we work, Michael.
Yes.
This shot was set up as a request because the public just doesn't see me naked quite enough. So we like to help out our viewers.
But I see they edited out below the waist shot from there, actually.
Yeah, it's too much for them to handle.
Right. Makes sense.
You do look cute in that gown, Bryan.
I know.
He's wearing it right now.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are wearing matching socks?
I was hoping I would hear that.
The uniform?
Yeah. Just a couple of guys in a cancer center. That's the new sitcom. Couple of guys in a cancer center. Tonight on Fox.
Okay, I'd like to see that on Broadway.
This fella did a good job.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
My wife and I are thinking about having kids. Walk into a doctor's office.
You're such an asshole to this guy.
Shut up. I'm so mean.
You're so mean.
It's like,
He's got cancer,
I
for
don't want
God's
this
sake.
putz talking to me about, look at this, I'm so worried.
Anyway.
I got much bigger problems than he does.
That's right. You got dope to sell.
Yeah.
Bosses to kill.
That's right. That's right. Bosses to kill. So, Johan and Michael, this was on the soundstage, I believe. This was a set you guys built.
This was on our lot. Yeah.
Wasn't it like a last-minute decision to make this set? Because you guys didn't have this from before, right?
I think you're right. I think they had this in a different location, and then they moved it into the waiting room at the last minute.
Oh, this wasn't even on the soundstage, or this was in
It
the...
was on the soundstage.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
but they were saying it was in somewhere else.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, we had to. I think it came down to making the days work out, and without another company move or something like that. So the decision was to make this out of some other existing structure and sort
Exactly.
of return it into this little waiting room.
Gotcha. Wonderful job, as always, by Mark Freeborn and W. Gilpin and our wonderful production design department and our construction department. Building a neat
That's a
little-
good move. That was a very sensible move to take it out of a location and put it onto our stages to save some time.
Yeah. I love that last shot, by the way, Johan. That popping behind, I love that.
I like that one too, actually.
Yeah. Just you guys, you have such a great eye, man. We're lucky to have you.
I'm the lucky one there, Vince. You know that.
I want everyone listening to know that you were a rock star in Sweden. You still are a rock star.
Yes,
Yes, he is.
I do not understand why that was necessary to bring up. Oh, that's actually, funny enough, Mark Johnson's son right there in the background.
That's true.
Yeah.
The right back behind the
screen
older-
debut.
That's right.
He almost steals the scene there for a second.
He did a very good job. That's young Jack Johnson. He's a good young man.
Didn't you make him sleep with you to get the role?
Well,
That's Hollywood, baby. Let's be honest here.
Let's
Come on.
be honest, it is Hollywood.
let's say it did not only involve sleep.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, God bless him.
What a great season he put in for us. My goodness.
Yeah, and this was a great episode for him also. There's a lot of him here. And it's a really good episode for him, I think. There's tons of great stuff with him.
And this is another practical location that we
Yeah,
found,
this
and
is
it was
a really cool
actually
scene.
up, 4 floors or 3 floors or something like that.
Yeah, this is a good location also. I mean, light-wise and the whole configuration of it.
There you go, now you see it.
Wow.
So what do you do, Michael, when you're 4 floors up? How do you get lights in the windows? Do you have to crank them way up on a scissor lift or something like that?
It's a great question because this had a lot of logistical problems to it. We had to lift stuff up with cranes and with scissor lifts and with condors to get the lights onto the roofs that you see behind us. But because of the style that we shoot, we use a lot less lighting than many other shows because it's not only acceptable but very desirable to have this sort of chiaroscuro look to it. We use a lot less lighting.
Yeah. Well, you do a beautiful job as always. I love this scene. I love the way it's lit. I love the acting. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Not counting, of course, the one coming up with Mr. Bauer and Mr. Margolis at the end. That's a great one.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
When they have sex, you mean?
Yeah,
that one.
exactly.
Or was that cut from the final? Was it?
I think it's here on the
Yeah,
DVD.
In the pool. Yeah.
What's Dean up to right now?
That's a good question. He's probably having another kid or two.
That's exactly what I was going to suggest.
Popping out another one.
When he has a week off.
Yeah, it's like a big dog pack, him and his family, isn't it? They're just all over the place.
And they're all named Dean, by the way.
I know.
Even the girls. It's weird. Like George Foreman the Fourth, George Foreman the Fifth.
1999.
I like that type of narcissism. That's good narcissism.
Yeah.
Dean's great in this scene. Everyone does a great job.
Yeah.
I ran into him a few weeks ago.
It was a
Look
great.
at that light. That's beautiful, Michael.
Yeah, that really is pretty.
And what's so great, Vince, about the language of our show is that on many shows you may you may shoot something real wide like those last big wide shots that you saw before, and they might use them once or they might use them not at all. And in our show, it's an integral part, an expressive part of the language of the show.
I agree. And also, it helps us to stay as far away from the actors as possible.
So that they can cover the flubbed lines.
No, that's obviously joking. Michael, we always talk about this. TVs are so big now. Widescreen TVs are so large now. It seems only obvious television composition can afford to get a little wider compared to the really choker tight stuff we're used to on TV for the last 20 years or so.
The resolution can handle it, but a lot of people who make television, a lot of people who broadcast television, still have not accepted those kinds of shots into their vocabularies.
Yeah, that's true.
Even a shot like this right there.
Well, this TV is enormous.
This is one big TV.
We are looking at a big TV here.
I gotta get
Really,
this in my
we're
house.
crowded around an iPod on this side.
I love that photo on the wall. That is actually a photo of the Albuquerque motor police, the motorcycle police from the 30s or the 40s that Mark Freeborn, our production designer, found somewhere in the archives and blew up really large. So I like that. In certain angles, you can see all the cops lined up with their motorcycles. That's really from Albuquerque. This is, of course, meant to play as the Albuquerque Police Department, not as a DEA.
A lot of people credit the look of the show with the lighting, but Mark is the strongest influence on this look. I mean, he is just a tremendous partner in the look of the show.
He sure is, but man, the lighting, the lighting of this show, it just doesn't get any better than what you do, Michael. You do great, just wonderful work, you and your guys.
Yep.
Very sweet.
Look, Hank waited for the right moment, just and he popped the question. Is that your real name?
I know. I love that.
Chile, which I find, I don't know.
Chile?
Strange.
Isn't it pronounced Chile?
Not when Dean's thinking of lunch.
Chile.
He's thinking of food, too.
Also notoriously unreliable at keeping records. I'm sure if you keep digging.
These wonderful job, Johan. Well, these two guys are just great, period. But you did a wonderful, delicate. Both these guys are so excellent in this scene. You sort of know something's going on. Each one knows the other knows something, but they play it so cool. All these guys, so well played.
It's like a tango.
This was the first episode I did that was written by other writers because I'm so used to one and the same writer almost. But this episode was Sam and George was different writers than I was used to, and you know it's a different tonality and a different sensibility to it.
That's sweet. Look at that shot.
That's a great shot.
Just that moment.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that gives him a tell. You know, is that little twitch of the finger and his alone time here. It's just a brilliant idea. Was that in the script, or did you do that?
No, I did that actually.
That was beautiful.
Give me some credit.
It was
Come on.
It was a great touch.
This is not my first rodeo. Okay?
See, he still thinks it's a rodeo. There must be a language difference here.
I'm in America.
We keep
Isn't
telling him,
everything
yeah,
a
you're
rodeo
going to
here?
direct a rodeo.
Yeah, that's what I've been told.
Or ballet.
That's a good point, though, what you said. Usually, your other episodes have been written by Moira Wally Beckett, and who's a wonderful writer, and this one written by George Mastras and Sam Catlin, who did an excellent job as always.
Yeah.
They're not as cute as Moira, but they're good writers.
You know, we put it on a scale. You know, win some, lose some. Yeah.
I think it was a good story.
No, but it's. I mean, I do think it was a different tonality, and you know, I attribute a lot of that to actually, you know, them being guys. Actually, and it might come out wrong, but you know, I think the Moira episodes, because I've been done a few of those, they have another sensibility on other areas, and this one, for me at least, was more sort of laddish in some way, actually, which not in a bad way. I'm just saying that there's different tonality in it.
Different vibe.
It was a great work here by not only Dean Norris, but that guy there, Michael Shamus-Wiles, and Nigel Gibbs and Stephen Michael Quesada, who play these, you know, they're so sure they're going to nab this guy, and they're the power force here, and then all of a sudden they're stumped.
Wonderful actors, all three of them. Uh-oh.
Except him. He's
Except
not good. Odenkirk phones it in every time. Emily Rios.
Emily Rios, great.
Yeah, terrific.
Very sweet. And I love this young man. This is Ian, I believe. Is it?
Yeah.
Yes. He is
His opening was.
What's it like directing a little kid, Johan?
I don't know. I walk out every time I have to work with kids. I leave it in the hands of my first AD or Michael and stuff like that. I don't speak their language. I do not understand what it is that they want.
Notoriously known for hating children.
Exactly. So, you know, I'll put that question to somebody else. But I saw he was there, and he was sitting there, probably urinating. Look at his bodyguard love that guy.
He's great.
This I loved.
Huel.
You,
That's that woman doing the flowers is Bob Odenkirk's real wife. Lucky man.
I love her expression when she's looking up at
I
you.
know.
Look at that purple silk
I
scarf
love this
thing.
end moment here with Bob, actually, when there's literally a little bit of some kind of humanity happening in him.
Yeah.
He's good. He's busy.
We love Bob. Bob's a great guy.
great guy.
Uh-oh, and then there's this guy. Uh-oh. What can you say about Aaron Paul? Nothing much.
Nothing.
So let's move
No,
on.
not much. Yeah, let's move on.
There's Lavelle Crawford.
Lavelle.
Lavelle's great.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
You're so handsome, Aaron.
What is my face doing though in this scene?
It's curled. You've got the curled lip. It's a little bit. It's a little Billy Idol thing that you have going.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's the snarl.
And a little bit of blue steel also, I think. Zoolander blue steel, yeah.
I like the members only jacket too.
Yeah, look at
That's
that
nice.
like fake fur collar. He's
That's
so
the most
great.
interesting shaped head I've ever seen in my life.
It's amazing.
I love that.
And a gun with the space bag available for purchase. The space bag.
Oh, this is a very clever idea. I'm thinking of doing that myself with my ones,
Yeah.
actually.
You can put the children in it. You don't want to have to direct.
That's another good idea.
It's good.
But I love this with your show, guys, also, when these little montages with some fun music happens every now and then. That's a little...
Yeah.
It does, and the music really belies what she's doing.
Exactly. It does.
You know what's tricky is shooting money on this show because you cannot make counterfeit money that looks real. Because the Secret Service will seriously come after you.
I can tell you a long story about that, but in short, what it was that I did a music video in which we, in Sweden, did $50 million worth of cash.
Yeah.
And when we were done with the shoot, we put it in a storage room. There was a fire in that building. The fire brigade was there, sprayed water all over it, so it was left open for days. And I was literally in a legal case for years since some of that money leaked out because it was too close.
Swedish money?
Yeah.
Kroners.
We have money, yeah, crowns.
What did you do with the money you stole?
Yeah, what did
I
you
bought
do?
myself an apartment in New York City.
You're my hero.
What a story. That sounds Jesus.
Yeah, that was literally just wrapped like 6 months ago. It's like, okay, the what's it called? The prosecutor is not going to take any more action. But it was closed for a bit there. I might have been spending serious prison time. Which would have been
God,
pretty
I'm
chill.
glad you didn't.
Wow.
Man. I'm picturing the beginning of the girl with the dragon tattoo. They're coming out of the courtroom there in Stockholm. And then
Yep.
Yeah.
I had to wear my tie.
I can't picture you in a tie, Johan. That would be.
God, no.
Didn't we have tie Thursday or something? Elegant Friday
No,
or something?
you brought that in.
No, you wore it as a bandana. I
I
think.
brought that in, yes.
You brought it in.
Thursday.
It was elegant day.
Elegant
Elegant
Thursday.
Thursday.
Elegant
I think it was.
Thursday.
Yeah.
And the whole crew got into it too.
Yeah.
And everybody wore suits like it was great.
Yeah.
Suits and dresses and
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
really
Top
terrific.
hats.
So, yeah, it's
Spats.
great.
Yeah, we had a
prizes
top
for best
hat,
one. Yeah. We have to do that again, Johan.
The done deal.
Okay.
I might upgrade it to Tails Thursday.
Tails.
I like the idea
That
of
could be
dress.
taken wrong.
I like the idea of dresses.
Okay.
This was a fun scene.
This is a really fun scene, actually. You're getting so into the rock thing here.
Yeah.
Rose, almost salmon hue, you know? Hey, Walt.
And the disappointment when you learn that it's
I
not
love
rock.
it. It's so.
I find those moments when he can escape from his harrowing life and get into science that he just loves it and gets tickled, and then he's rocked back into the real world.
I love this scene.
This is a great
I
scene.
love the scene.
This is
man.
a great scene.
I love that when I read it, man. It's just amazingly
That's
written.
good. It's a really good scene.
Beautifully acted.
Sam and George did a great job writing it, and then you guys just
Yeah.
delivered the hell out of it.
Oh God, it's just.
Sure. Gestapo friend.
Hey, Michael, a scene like this, people probably who know nothing about photography, like me, for instance, would think, well, you're outdoors, all you do is set the camera up. But talk about how much lighting is involved just in a shot like this.
There's a tremendous amount of light in this shot that you don't see right out the front window of this, trying to balance the interior level of light inside this car to what's behind Dean there.
Mm.
There's a lot of lighting going on here.
That's
More
why
than
I
most
squint
there.
so much.
Yeah,
Like the light, it's truly the light is pounding inside into the through the windshield, and it's difficult to get used to. But Michael's so great in trying to help us out as much as possible so that we don't squint and see the wrinkles. That's from Michael's lighting. Right, the wrinkles in my face.
Is this like mid-afternoon or something?
Yeah. Or I'll apologize before we start the shot.
But I got to say though, I mean, it's really difficult from my perspective to have such a long scene in a car like that, because there's not a lot of stuff you can do, you know. And you know, here as per usual with you guys, what happens is that doesn't matter. You can do this in pretty much one shot because you guys are so compelling, and the whole sort of deliverance of everything is so tight in all sorts of ways. But I mean, it's always, you know, I can't help thinking, what the hell am I supposed to do here? I mean, you're in a car for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You did a great job, though, man.
It's
You
daunting,
crushed it.
but
It is daunting.
yeah.
It's one of the great things about working on this show is that really we do quite simple shots, you know, 80% of the time. And the writing is so tremendous and the acting is so wonderful. You just, you know, leave it up to them. We try not to interfere. We try not to muck it up.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just, like in approaching it from an acting standpoint too, is that if it's so well written, just don't mess with it. Just do it. Just say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is a very tricky thing you're doing here, Bryan, because you got to make it clear for the audience.
Yeah, look at your eyes, man.
Yeah.
Look at your eyes.
But you can't be so suspicious, so nervous that Dean, that Hank rather, is suspicious.
That he
of
would
you.
notice, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very fine line you got to tread here. You
Yeah.
tread it very beautifully.
See that Volvo station wagon over there?
A shout out to Johan's native country of Sweden there. Volvo.
Good. We have to do our little tributes when we can.
That's right.
Stick this on it.
Stick what?
Didn't we make that? Is that a real
No,
thing?
it's a real thing,
that is
actually.
a real, and when he says where you can buy it and the price you can buy it for, it's absolutely
That's actually-
correct.
okay.
This on the car. This right here. It's a magnet.
I love this bit.
Cool.
His reaction.
$289.
Oh yeah.
I got to say, actually, it's so real that it's scary because you're thinking, holy shit,
That's easy to do.
that could be on one of my cars right now for all I know.
It is.
Yeah.
And Walter White's sphincter is so squeezed right now.
Extra legal, but trust me, it's our little secret.
This is perfect timing.
Yeah, I love
Perfect
this. I
timing.
love this.
Cue Jonathan Banks.
Oh my God.
Perfect rack focus there to Jonathan.
Look
back to Bryan
at
there,
a
that's
little like Uncle Fester there.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment. He's a very handsome man.
Stick this up into the wheel well.
I love him too, but it's just an observation.
It's really important. I mean, Jesus, just you make me.
This is a long scene.
We should let people know that you guys are not. It was really hot that day, and both of you guys are not wearing pants in this scene.
Well, that's the only way we can get through it.
Yeah.
Is it, to have something cool. I had a fan blowing up my keister as well.
How long did it take to shoot this scene?
No, Johan's fast, and of course we know Michael Slovis is very fast.
Yeah.
In setting up.
I just want to get out of there. As
Yeah,
quick as
there was
There were
possible.
just
That's my
so
principle.
many setups.
So it seemed like that, but
Wow, it's sunny
we actually
outside, too.
kind of knocked it off pretty quickly, I think.
Quickly meaning 2 hours, something like that, 2.5, 3.
Michael, you may remember that.
I
more
think it
than-
was a little long. I seem to remember. Was this not possibly the first day of the show?
Bryan and Johan, I remember we block shot that thing, which meant we shot out every direction at one time. So we were doing all of the scenes in the car from each direction at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was probably, I'd say, 3 hours or so, 4 hours.
Block shooting meaning, in other words, the stuff before this interstitial scene inside, and then the stuff when he comes out afterward, everything in that one direction. both
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Everything onto Bryan at one time, everything from the front of the car looking back,
Gotcha.
everything onto Dean at one time.
Which means the actors have to run from one scene to the next, and obviously we're always shooting out of order here. So you guys always have to sort of be knowing in your heads, and now of course that's the director's job as well to help the actors know, okay, you're here right now. We're going to skip this other scene.
Right, and
now,
we're gonna.
Yeah.
So all the stuff you see the shot of Dean just there was shot when we shot the other scene as well. We jumped right into his.
Right. And also because our crew has been together for such a long time, the camera operators, and the lighting people and whatnot, we just move at a very good pace.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, Michael, it's people should know it's there's a lot of, well, there's not even a lot. There are directors of photography who are brilliant
nice
artists, and then there are fast directors of photography, but you usually get one or the other and not both, and Michael is both. Michael is both fast and brilliant, and that is a real trick. That is you could count on one hand the number of guys, men and women who can do that as directors of photography.
I just want to add one little thing there, also in terms of the speed and the fact that we shoot these shows over such few days for all the content we do, which is like that. A couple of shots in that scene we saw there was just about that we have to be really, really simple and figure them out in one setup or in one move, one handheld move, rather than how you maybe normally would do it. So it forces out a really good creativity. I think this is sort of the tempo that we have to have.
Yeah.
We always, all of us always head towards the expressive shot rather than just handing over a bunch of coverage to be cut later on.
No, totally.
And that was a great transition, by the way. I love that.
Excellent transition.
Thinks that you are anyone other than an owner of a fast food chain.
This is a beautiful moment talking to the camera.
I love that. Yeah, man. It looks like Jesus speaking to his father up in heaven.
Well, that's what I was going with, too. Not that I have a God complex, but...
No.
Just a Jesus complex.
Jesse!
Oh, God.
I love that shirt.
My God,
Great
that
choice.
shirt. So many people talk to me about that one shirt.
Well, it's
this scene is really good.
Siegfried and Roy. You look like a roadie for Siegfried and Roy.
My God, he was.
And Vince, you may want to relate that this is now a set. We started at a practical location where this house was, and now we duplicated it on our stages.
Yeah, and it looks identical.
It does. It was
Really, they did such a great job.
amazing. Again, Mark Freeborn designing, and then W. Gilpin and his crew building this interior. If you watch old episodes of our show, like for instance back in season 1, when for instance Walt and Jesse are flipping the coin over who's gonna kill Crazy 8 and who's gonna dispose of Emilio, that's in the real living room in a real house in Albuquerque, and this is a soundstage set inside a giant big empty building, a big soundstage, and I defy anybody to be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
So what happens is the producers talk to the writing staff and say, how many times do you think we're going to see the inside of Jesse's apartment? And he gives them a basic idea of how many times, and they say, it's going to be cheaper for us, and we'll retain more control if we build it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, right, because we can move ceiling pieces out, wall pieces out, which makes us
Again, the
move
writing
faster.
in this scene is ridiculous.
That's great.
so tight.
That's great.
And
right?
the acting, you guys.
Good acting here.
Yeah, man.
The only way you can really kind
of... You're sorry, gimp ass.
The only way you can really tell this is a soundstage set is that you notice how Walt didn't really ever quite open the window there. Because you got to be able to see out, and you unfortunately you can't right there, because you'd be looking out at a fire extinguisher. And a bunch
Slovis is good, but he's not a magician. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, what
I
you do?
say he's a magician.
Well, that's true.
I love the camera tracking him right here. It's beautiful. Just staying with him.
It was really fun to shoot this scene.
Yeah,
actually.
Johan, you're good, man.
No, but it was really fun. The intensity. The whole relationship between you two here, and the whole intensity of the scene. It makes it really, really fun to shoot. I really have to say.
What you would say in case Hank brings you in for questioning.
So is this handheld, Michael and Johan? Is this camera on the guy's shoulder, on the operator's shoulder?
The number of shots that aren't in this show is, are few and far between.
Which is tough on the operators, because this is a motion picture camera that weighs about 35 pounds. Is that right?
Well, more than that. With
More than
film
that.
in it,
Yeah. Our operators are tough. They're tough guys, strong,
and good,
and very, very good.
It's really a pleasure to watch them because we rarely have the actors standing in one place, except if they're sitting in a car. But here you can see there's a lot of choreography, and it really is a dance between the actors and the camera operators.
Beautiful.
I mean, that's a way that we discovered early on to keep the camera alive and keep the action going.
Yeah.
But Bryan and Aaron, I mean, there's a very close relationship between the actors and the operators. I mean, there's a lot of communications that goes back and forth between the two.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's a good touch. We hate inserts on this show, but every now and then, and that's and by the way, thank you for that, because that's very often on a TV show you'll have inserts, and the insert will be done, much later, and it'll be done with a different actor's hands, and I always appreciate Bryan you doing those yourself.
His hands are gorgeous.
No,
also.
I think Michael's right. Is that it's really teamwork, and the more that we can communicate with the camera crew and the sound crew, there's less time spent in orchestrating the whole.
That's true.
And after a couple of seasons, Bryan, there's a shorthand between you and Andy Vogelai, the A camera. I mean, you just look at each other and they know what's going on between the two of them.
It's love.
Yeah,
There's love.
Good work on this.
That's nice. Look at that.
Yeah.
The tension in this episode is amazing. The editing, just the way it's just you guys like built this tension, man. This from scene to scene. It's just
Does he have resources?
shit's about to hit the fan.
Yes.
From what I hear, he'd be.
I know.
That's a
I love
beautiful
this
shot.
location.
Yeah,
And
it's gorgeous.
Johan came back very excited about this.
Yeah.
Wait till you see this location that we found.
I mean, to filmmakers, that's beauty. That's beauty right there.
Where is that, guys? What is that? Like an old train yard or something?
It's downtown, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just outside of downtown Albuquerque.
Seems to me the bigger problem's the cartel.
I love this.
It's right
too.
near where Combo got shot down, right?
Oh, so it's near the old
It's right
train
downtown.
station.
Yeah.
This slow track, long scene, and like that.
Pushing in through the window.
Yeah, love it.
So that's not a zoom. That's
No, that's a
tracking
push.
in.
No,
that's a
push
push
in.
in.
Yeah.
We need the parallaxes, that makes it look better.
Yeah. Push ins look better in zooms, I think.
Much more difficult than it looks. It looks simple in the end. It's the focus pulling on something like that is a real trick.
Yeah. Focus pulling, meaning there's a guy looking through the lens, he's the camera operator, and then there's an assistant who's changing the focus by hand, inch by inch as the camera moves.
Depending on the distance between the subject and the lens.
Right.
Exactly.
I like this shot.
He's a guy or a woman that you never notice until it's not in focus. And, then and everybody knows that person's name.
That's a tough job.
I love that shot.
But look at this
Look
shot.
at that.
Yeah. That's
Great.
focus pulling for you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And look at the
Hey,
light,
Big
yeah.
Joe Polka Show. If you watch the RFD network, they got the Big Joe Polka Show. That's what you're listening to there.
RFD network?
The it's this network of they show Hee Haw and they show Big Joe Polka Show. I love it. I swear to God, they show videos of trains.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
I swear to God, it's great. I love it.
Can you get that on DirecTV?
Nice to know you spend your time well. Mark, I wanted to ask you a question. I mean, you have no dialogue when you're playing him at this age. Is this as difficult as when you do have dialogue? I mean, you're still fully involved and active in it.
Who am I talking to?
That's Bryan. That's Bryan Cranston from CNN. Mark, please.
What do you care? Answer the question. Jesus.
He's so difficult. He's difficult even now.
I don't find it any different, really. Other than that, there's a nice part. I don't have to learn any lines. But I really don't distinguish one from the other.
Well, we just crossed into Mexico, so you can relax.
How can you tell?
There you are.
There he is. This is much more the Mark we know.
Yeah. No, actually, to me,
Pissing into a
to
pool.
me, the makeup always looked to me. I looked like Peter Boyle in The Munsters. Something about it.
I gotta say, before we get too far from it, that wide shot there with the the P is digitally added.
Really?
I'm
Yes.
disappointed. I thought Mark was a pure actor.
It was?
No, I don't think it was.
No, I had that P rig.
And in the honest to God, in the wide shot, believe me, I remember because I had to look at many different
'Cause it-
versions of it.
It went out pretty far into the pool with the P rig.
Well, just in the wide shot from across the other side.
Which is not like you at all, Mark. I've seen you pee.
No, now I feel failed.
They drink. Yeah.
I love how you do that, Mark.
Yeah,
with your
what's
hand.
that with two hands?
I love that.
That's the two.
That looks very cool. I don't know what it is, but I love that. Of course, Javier Grajeda here, wonderful actor.
Great, and James Martinez.
James Martinez,
He's fantastic. He was so.
excellent actors around this table.
I mean, this was interesting for me. I don't
and here he
speak one
is.
word of Spanish, obviously. So again, I was pretty obsolete at this scene.
Look at that sunshine, the sunlight, like beautiful shot.
There's the man. There's the
Yeah,
man.
Brian, this was
Eladio.
incredibly difficult because this was an entire day's worth of shooting, and to try to keep it looking the same in terms of, because the sun moved from one side of the location to the other
It
over the
kept
course of
moving
the
all
day.
day.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Didn't we shoot this over 2 days?
Oh, yeah, it was even more
Was
than one
even-
day.
it was
Yeah.
Really, it was really complicated. You guys were tinkering and making calls to God and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Johan and I sat down. We planned out these 2 days and which direction we're going to shoot in the morning, which direction we're going to shoot in the afternoon.
Well done.
But we really fought. I remember that, how it was a bit of a struggle in a good way, but getting all those shots, really fighting the light directions in all conditions. But I think it turned out really great, this scene. I really
It's a
liked it.
beautiful scene. I love this scene. This is a former bed and breakfast. I think it was like a bed and breakfast back in the 60s and whatnot. And before that, this property was a coal mine, I believe. If you look down the hill over the balcony, you can see like old coal mine tailings from 100 years ago. And it's the folks who live here now it's a private home now, but they're very, very nice folks, and we appreciate them letting us use their property here. Stephen, man, you're so good in this scene.
Well, we're talking about food. It's my favorite subject. So. Thank you.
And Mark,
Thank you.
God, I love Mark, man.
Yes.
I love you guys. And now two of the actors in the scene do not speak Spanish.
Right.
Three of them do.
Yeah. No, I love this scene. I love the way it's written, and I really had fun, sort of just moving it along. And Johan, you gave me a lot of leeway here, a lot of freedom, being that you don't understand anything I'm saying.
How difficult was it? I mean, how can you direct a scene when you don't understand the language?
Well, actually, I mean, to be honest, we obviously had the English translation of it,
Yeah.
and I speak French, actually, so there's
So he was
similarities.
following. Yeah, he really did know what we were what I was doing.
But to me, the difficulty is actually, on the very subtle levels, on sort of intonation of words and stuff like that. I have to guess a lot there.
No, and you kept me on a really, really fine, a really delicate balance between sarcasm. I look a little bit like an aging Fabian there. It's a little disconcerting. But the kid is great. James was terrific, and his Spanish was beautiful. And Giancarlo's just sort of following along.
Struggled with it.
Waiting. Yeah, but he did an amazing job because he doesn't speak Spanish at all.
He was
So
it was really impressive how
he had to learn the whole thing, like, I mean, phonetically, basically, you know? He's dreading his next line, though, right there.
Right now he's thinking of next line.
That's got to be so tough. He did a wonderful job, though.
It's beautiful.
And Mark, you as well did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
And I have to also point out, we have two gentlemen in the scene from the movie Scarface.
Oh, boy.
We got this gentleman right here.
That's right.
And then we've got Mark Margolis, both of you guys. God bless you. Both of you guys are one of my favorite movies.
It was a Scarface reunion that day.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It was.
Guzzling that tequila.
Now, were you able to conjure a Mexican Spanish accent?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
As opposed to a Cubano, huh?
Oh, absolutely. El mexicano es muy diferente que el cubano.
And how would you say that in a Cubano?
Los cubanos hablan más así, tú sabes, más casual, más suavecito, you know. But the Mexican Spanish is very, very precise, and in certain parts of Mexico, some other parts of Mexico, it's very sing-songy. So I'm trying to walk a kind of fine line between guys that I've known from the cartel that speak a very, very sort of ranchero Spanish, but then they come up in the world and they get, you know, they get educated. Some of them just remain animals and they just grunt. Mm-hmm. like Tio. Look at the way he's looking at me. He hates me right here.
I was never able to disconnect from my animosity towards anyone that was connected to Al Pacino.
I felt that, and that's why I kept egging you on. I kept pushing you.
That's right. Al Pacino shot you in the head, didn't that? Yeah, and Scarface.
Yeah.
Now you're about to return the favor.
You know what the kids that get me on the subway always said, with regard to him shooting me in the head, they always say, "Man, you could have got the drop on him."
Yeah. Why'd you let him shoot you?
Why'd you do that? You could have got the drop on him.
Because you had a detonator in your hands.
No, I say because there was a script.
Yeah. That's the same question I always get also. Why'd you let him kill you?
I'd like to ask a story point on this, is that the relationship that these two have coming to you, and this kid's the chemist, he's the cook behind it, and the choice to shoot him in the head as opposed to the other guy, or even, I mean, was it out of the disrespect they showed Don Eladio by doing this? What was the motivating factor to
why do I let him live?
Well, yeah, that's an excellent question, and it is meant to be a little mysterioso.
Yes.
I think, in my opinion, Don Eladio most surely would have killed Gus. And perhaps both of them, but perhaps he would have let this gentleman live so that he could be useful to the cartel. But he would have most certainly killed Gustavo, because Gustavo is clearly here the guy behind the plan.
Right.
The plan that ultimately disrespected Don Eladio. But Don Eladio makes reference here coming up to, the only reason you're alive and he isn't is because I know
who you are.
Yeah.
And you're not in Chile anymore.
Exactly.
In other words, I know his history. I know his past.
Yeah.
And there's a scheme. There's kind of a sadistic turn, though, really, because this is great. The kids. Oh my God.
I love the way Johan shot. I love the way you did this, Johan.
Beautiful.
That is boy, that just gets you every time. And the way
here the sound, everything, sound editing.
Mark's dead eyes there, and the way Giancarlo plays this, just beautiful.
Oh man,
beautiful. I remember, Johan, you explaining to me the way you intended to cover this, and I have to admit, at first I was like, I didn't really picture it that way, but man, there's just no other way to do it.
Yeah, look at that.
You did such a great job
Amazing.
here.
My favorite shot in the entire episode is coming up here in a bit. Remember
the
that,
very
Michael?
last one?
Yeah, the tracking shot over his head there.
Beautiful. And then our post-production folks froze James's eyes here, so they actually made his pupils larger.
Wow.
Because it was so bright out there, there were little pinpoints, so it made his pupils larger so that he'd look even more dead.
I love this, the way that you guys shot this with the thing hanging down.
Yeah.
razón por la cual tú estás vivo y él no. Es porque yo sé.
Look at those eyes.
Oh, no, I never noticed.
Of course, the chain around your neck was a prop designed and constructed by our prop department.
Yeah, it was very specific. Yeah.
The sort of the Greek amulet against the evil eye, because Eladio, am I correct, means the Greek in Spanish?
The evil eye, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm watching the movie.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you. This is a beautiful shot.
Look at this shot.
How can that be so beautiful when it's about a guy bleeding out of his brain?
I don't know, you guys are really fucked.
That's a beautiful shot. What speed is that, Johan and
I think
Michael?
it's 100 frames, isn't it?
100 frames.
That fast? Yeah,
I think so.
Wow.
God.
Beautiful shot.
Scary stuff.
I love it.
Great cut.
Back to the Big Joe Polka show.
And also, I mean, it's worth pointing out that, Michael, with the filters you used on the flashback there, just to give it a warmer tone, and that really, when we come back to this sort of colder reality, it's a big jump.
It's what we do, is make it a very contrasty cut so that we know exactly where we are.
What's interesting from a story point, too, is that we've somehow developed a sympathy for Gus Fring.
Yeah,
at this point.
It's true.
Yes.
It's like, oh my God.
Well, yes, yeah, it's amazing. It's an
toying
amazing
with this,
amazing.
Vince Gilligan.
Yes, and I love Mr. Margolis. I love what you do here coming up.
So great.
I love that. Isn't that
so
good?
Great. So great, Mark.
He's known in the business as one of the best spit take artists around. Really an amazing.
Yeah, you should see the
talent.
floor here right now.
Pleasure, as
Great
always.
episode, guys.
All you guys did
Great
such a
episode.
wonderful job.
Johan kicked ass.
I got to say, it never ceases to amaze me how fast every episode goes by. Doesn't it? It's like, oh, that's the end.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, we never get to watch it together. This is actually lots of fun.
It really is.
This is fun.
Nice to share this with you.
Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.